So I'm Alex. I am a clinical psychology student at Waikato Uni. I've been doing psychology for about 7 years now. So there's this really good doctoral thesis that I've been reading from Victoria University, and it's titled Love and Luck. And that's not really something I'd ever thought about. A lot of autistic people's journeys and the success, however that may manifest, is based on love and it's based on luck. So who are the people supporting you, and where did you fall into luck to help you to navigate your life successfully in the cards that you've been dealt. So I want to try and see how we can limit love and luck as factors. Not that they're not good things, but it's like a dice roll. For every autistic person that comes out, are they going to thrive and are they going to have this great life where they feel meaning and they get the support that they need, or are they going to struggle? And I don't like those odds. Ultimately, I believe that autistic people, it's just a normal variation. And it's unfortunately, if you look at society and the sort of the contextual model of autism, because of how society runs, some people are pushed to the outliers, right? As outliers. And I think what I'd like to see is that we get to a point where autistic people can just do what they enjoy doing, and they can find a position in society where they are valued for their strengths rather than discouraged for their quirks. Because if you actually speak to someone who's autistic, they're just brilliant. But a lot of people don't even allow themselves time to see that brilliance. And I think that's, even just on a purely sociological level, it's just a waste. Think about all the awesome stuff that we could do if we just gave autistic people a way to express their passions in a positive and productive, and not necessarily within the neoliberal labour market, but think about all the cool stuff that could be developed off just autistic people going and doing stuff that they really enjoy, whether that's friendships or positive relationships or just cool things that you can put out in the world. I just think that would be so cool. So the research question is, how could we have done better? And that has to do with, well, what barriers did you experience throughout your journey? So we're looking for adult parents who have got children who are young adults, so between the ages of 17 and 30. And we want to figure out, where did we as psychology, where did health go wrong, so that you still feel like maybe there are some things that aren't going super great in your life? Where could we have done better? How can we get you towards the path of thriving and well-being? So we're looking for people who not only have had a diagnosis, but also people who strongly suspect that their child has a diagnosis. So there's the obvious one of cost. It costs so much. It's ridiculous how much money it costs to get an assessment. So that limits people in many different contexts of getting their child diagnosed and then getting support. So I think one of the other barriers is that people just don't understand what it is. They can't identify it. And a lot of the time, certain, what we call presenting problems in psychology, get masked by other diagnoses, and people go throughout life being stuck in this rut and never really understanding. But if they actually had a diagnosis and they had adequate supports which are focused on the individual's context, I think that would really help people. If I hadn't diagnosed myself and then got an assessment, because I was functioning, that word functioning is interesting, isn't it? If I hadn't spent 5, 6 years studying psychology, if I hadn't worked in places that supported autistic people, I don't think anyone would have ever. I got pushback when I told people I had ADHD and autism. And I think, thirdly, there's a huge barrier to actually getting adequate support. I think that there is room for improvement in people accessing supports, whether that be financially, whether that be through, they may not be able to afford to go to a city which has adequate supports for them. So there are a lot of factors, and that's ultimately contributing to some of the discrepancies in well-being that we're seeing. The memory that is elicited when you ask me that question is me sitting at my desk. I was wagging school. I was probably playing League of Legends on one monitor, and I was watching Crash Course Psychology on the other. And I think that's probably the moment where I was like, wow, this is interesting. And I was forced to go to university, and so that's what I picked, and here I am. I wouldn't want to do anything else, I don't think. We always complain about psychology as students and as professionals as well. But I don't know if I would want to do anything else. So I think it was that moment of me hating the school system, not fitting in very well, not just socially, but also academically. I did really poorly. And so there was this dissonance between everyone saying, oh, you're so smart, and me not passing with university entrance. Nor did I even pass level 3. So I had to do a one assignment over summer before I went to university. I think that's actually, that anecdote is the microcosm for our education system. It just doesn't work for many people. So here's me doing really well in what I'm really enjoying. But then, and look, I love physics, I love chemistry, I like biology, I loved English, I loved math. But when it's forced upon you in the academic setting, in the strange pods that they decided to put in where it's all open plan, I mean, I just couldn't do it. I did really poorly. And so I think the education system sets us up to make us feel like we're useless. I think that's wrong. I think we're awesome, and we just got to find what fits. And people aren't giving us those opportunities. Let's let autistic people thrive. Because if you're just making them feel crap about themselves, we're not getting anywhere. Not sure how deep to go here. There was a time in my life where I wasn't sure. You know the light at the end of the tunnel? I didn't see that for a long time. And then one day I saw a little light, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I didn't expect that. And I think a lot of that was, the reason that I was able to see that was because I ended up getting diagnosed. And then I could put a label to something, and then I could actually understand why I did some of the things that I did. And I could get help for it. I could go up to someone and say, this is what I'm experiencing. Where do you think where should I do something differently? And a lot of the time people would say, you don't really need to do anything differently. Like, acceptance is a key thing that I never would have thought of. So I think one of the key achievements in my life was exposing myself to the things that terrified me, whether that be social interaction, whether that be going into a job and feeling like you're worthwhile. I can walk into a room now and feel relatively confident about my ability, which is not something that I've experienced a lot. And that just came with love and luck and support and lots of help from other people. And I don't know where I would be if I didn't receive that support. One of the biggest reasons we see PTSD in people is because, especially in war zones, why did the mortar hit my friend and not me? why was I the one who got this award? So that's an achievement in some ways, but it's just luck. That's just, I'm not, that's a little bit unacceptable to me, that I was a lucky one.